Of all the incredible acting collaborations seen throughout the history of Hollywood, the pairing of John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara stood as one of cinema's greatest. With Wayne's reputation as perhaps the best leading man of classic American cinema, and O'Hara's talent for portraying dynamic and passionate heroines, the two were a match made in heaven, and to see them starring opposite one another was always a treat. Wayne and O'Hara collaborated with legendary filmmaker John Ford on 3 separate occasions, which only added to the legacy of their work with one another. The movies that starred both Wayne and O'Hara vary greatly and included fantastic Western team-ups, an idyllic rural romance, and even a slice-of-life laugh-out-loud comedy. Wayne and O'Hara played to each other's strengths, and their on-screen chemistry cemented their reputations as box office draws who teamed up 5 times for more than 20 years. With classic movies together, such as Rio Grande and The Quiet Man, despite the varying quality of their 5 films, seeing the duo on-screen together always felt like an occasion. 1. The Wings of Eagles, 1957. John Wayne as Frank Spig Weed and Maureen O'Hara as Min Weed. John Wayne as Frank. The Wings of Eagles was a 1957 biopic about United States Navy aviator Frank Spig Weed that also acted as a history of American aviation from its inception right up until World War II. Directed by John Ford and starring John Wayne as Spig and Maureen O'Hara as his wife Min Weed, The Wings of Eagles acted as an enjoyable melodrama that glorified military life and imbued its story with family drama and unfortunately dated humor. With committed performances, the best thing about The Wings of Eagles was the pairing of Wayne and O'Hara, who at this point had already starred in 3 movies together. 2. Big Jake, 1971. John Wayne as Jacob Secundlis e Maureen O'Hara as Martha Secundlis. The final film to feature both John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. O'Hara retired for 20 years after the release of the Technicolor Western Big Jake. With a plot involving a kidnapped boy being held for ransom, Big Jake was a film that featured great character introductions and an exciting climax, but unfortunately, it took its time getting to the point and sometimes felt slightly tedious. However, the reunited pairing of Wayne and O'Hara alone was enough to justify the ticket price, and the two demonstrated for the last time what made them such a great team. Wayne portrayed Jacob McCandles and O'Hara was his wife, Martha. Together, with their sons, they ran a ranch that got attacked by the notorious Fane gang who abducted their son Little Jake. This action set in motion a cowboy adventure that saw Wayne on the hunt to save his boy. However, the film could have benefited from more interaction between Wayne and O'Hara, as her role was a reduced one. Sadly, Big Jake was an uneven movie that, with a stronger script and better direction, could have stood among Wayne and O'Hara's best work together. 3. McLintock. 1963. John Wayne as J.W. McLintock e Maureen O'Hara as Kate McLintock. John Wayne showed off his funny side in McLintock, a comedy co-starring Maureen O'Hara that was partly inspired by William Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew. An over-the-top adventure, McLintock featured exciting gun chases, hilarious hijinks, and a famous spanking scene that O'Hara testified was the real deal, via express. Unusual for a Wayne-led Western, McLintock set aside the usual action-orientated nature of the genre and gave some time to the stories of daily life and those living in the rural American Old West. Telling the story of a wealthy ranger, played by Wayne, who used his power and influence to keep the peace between farmers, land grabbers, Native Americans, and corrupt government workers, McLintock was a box office success that carried out its enjoyable Western comedy premise well. O'Hara shined as the beautiful redhead Kate McLintock, who was responsible for some of the film's most hilarious scenes and was fiercely committed to delivering expert physical comedy. McLintock may not have gone down in history as the best comedy of all time, but it remained an enjoyable piece of entertainment.